The flight crew of British Midlands Flight 92 found themselves amid a seemingly ordinary journey.
Of a foam carpet on West Midlands Airport.
That this aircraft might conceivably.
He said that they had a problem with the right-hand engine.
The morning of January 8, 1989, dawned with promise as the brand new Boing 737-400 taxied down the runway at London Heathrow Airport, bound for Belfast International Airport in Northern Ireland. The routine flight commenced without a hitch, with passengers settling into their seats and the crew navigating the skies with practiced ease. As the aircraft soared to cruising altitude, everything appeared to be proceeding smoothly. However, as the altimeter crept past 28,300 feet, violent vibrations rattled the cabin, jolting the crew from their calm demeanor. Simultaneously, an acrid scent permeated the air, a noxious blend of burnt rubber, oil, and searing metal. Reacting swiftly, the crew's instincts kicked into overdrive. With the nerves of steel, they swiftly identified the source of the disturbance. One of the engines. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they throttled back the engine in question, desperately seeking to quell the tumult threatening to engulf them. For a fleeting moment, it seemed as though their decisive action had triumphed over adversity. The aircraft steadied, and a semblance of normalcy returned to the cabin. But unbeknownst to the crew, this respite was but a cruel illusion, a deceptive lull before the storm. The tension aboard the aircraft was palpable as the crew grappled with the unfolding crisis. With each passing moment, the situation grew increasingly dire, fraught with uncertainty and peril. With the fate of Flight 92 hanging in the balance, the crew braced themselves for the harrowing ordeal that lay ahead. Meanwhile, the ground control team scrambled to assess the situation, their voices crackling with urgency over the radio waves. With every passing second, the gravity of the situation became increasingly apparent, as the fate of the stricken aircraft hung in the balance. As the minutes stretched into eternity, the crew's steely resolve was put to the ultimate test. With nerves of steel and hearts pounding, they navigated the treacherous skies, their every action a testament to their unwavering determination to see their passengers safely to the ground. Little did they know that their valiant efforts would soon be put to the ultimate test, as British Midlands Flight 92 hurtled towards a fate that would forever etch its name into the annals of aviation history. The stage was set, the players assembled, and the fate of British Midlands Flight 92 hung in the balance as the clock ticked inexorably towards destiny. In the hushed confines of the cockpit, where every decision carried weight and consequence, the crew grappled with a machine that was as enigmatic as it was formidable. At the helm of this airborne juggernaut sat a seasoned captain, his weathered hands guiding the aircraft with a blend of expertise and intuition honed over countless hours in the sky. Yet despite his years of service and the wealth of experience etched into his very being, there was a palpable sense of unease as he surveyed the unfamiliar instrumentation before him. The captain, a stalwart of the skies, the transition to the 737-400 had been fraught with challenges. Though he had amassed over 13,000 hours of flight time, including a respectable 763 hours on the Boeing 737, his encounter with the 400 variant was a relative novelty. With just 23 hours logged in its cockpit, he found himself treading on unfamiliar ground, grappling with a machine that defied easy categorization. Beside him sat the first officer, a relative newcomer to the world of aviation compared to his esteemed counterpart. With just over 3,000 hours of flight time to his name, including a mere 192 hours on the Boeing 737, his lack of experience on the 400 variant only served to compound the sense of trepidation that permeated the cockpit. As the aircraft hurtled through the heavens, the crew found themselves confronted with a conundrum as complex as it was confounding. The sleek, modern instrumentation before them belied a depth of complexity that belied easy comprehension. Gone were the familiar clock-shaped dials, replaced instead by a hybrid amalgamation of analog and digital displays, where LED lights danced in a silent ballet of information. The captain and his first officer, this new paradigm presented a formidable challenge, one that tested the limits of their training and expertise. In the absence of extensive simulator sessions or hands-on experience, they were left to navigate the intricacies of the 737, 400 through sheer force of will, and the scant knowledge gleaned from ground school. The events of that fateful day would soon reveal. Theory alone could not prepare them for the trials that lay ahead. In the unforgiving crucible of the skies where every decision carried the weight of life and death, as British Midlands Flight 92 sliced through the crisp evening air, the calm facade of normalcy shattered in an instant. With 118 souls on board and 8 crew members poised at their posts, the stage was set for a journey that would transcend the bounds of imagination. As the clock ticked towards 7:52 p.m., the aircraft roared to life, its engines thrumming with barely contained power as it taxied down the runway at Heathrow Airport. The routine pre-flight checks completed, the aircraft surged skyward, its sleek form cutting through the gathering twilight with effortless grace. For the crew, the evening seemed to hold nothing but promise. The first officer, elected as the pilot flying for this leg of the journey, guided the aircraft with a steady hand, his gaze fixed on the horizon ahead. Beside him, the captain, a veteran of the skies, stood ready to lend his expertise should the need arise. As they climbed to their initial altitude of 6,000 feet, the cockpit buzzed with the hum of professional banter. Conversations flowed freely between the two pilots, their camaraderie evident in every exchange. But unbeknownst to them, a shadow loomed on the horizon, threatening to plunge their world into chaos. It was when the aircraft passed 20 nautical miles south of East Midlands Airport, soaring to an altitude of 28,300 feet, that the first tremors of unease began to ripple through the cockpit. The tranquility shattered as the aircraft was engulfed in a maelstrom of vibrations, violent and unrelenting. And as if summoned by some malevolent force, the unmistakable scent of burning rubber and oil filled the air, a grim harbinger of the trials to come. In the face of this sudden onslaught, the crew reacted with lightning speed. The first officer's voice crackled over the intercom, his words laced with a palpable sense of urgency. "Looks like we have a fire." With a calm resolve born of years of training, the captain assumed control of the aircraft, his hands moving with practiced precision as he disconnected the autopilot and leveled the aircraft at 30,000 feet. The engine instrumentation flickered erratically, displaying fluctuating N1 readings and an ominous increase in exhaust gas temperature. For the captain, haunted by memories of flights past, the stakes could not have been higher. With no clear indication of which engine was to blame, he grappled with the gnawing fear that time was running out. But as the seconds stretched into eternity, he knew that every decision, every action would shape the destiny of those entrusted to his care. As the ominous scent of burnt rubber and oil permeated the air, a tense silence descended upon the cockpit of British Midlands Flight 92. With the aircraft trembling beneath their feet, the crew found themselves thrust into a race against time, their every decision fraught with the weight of impending disaster. In the throes of uncertainty, the captain's mind raced with a flurry of possibilities. Drawing upon his years of experience flying the 737, 200 and 300, he grappled with the enigma before him. If the source of the disturbance lay within the cabin, then logic dictated that the culprit must be the number 2 engine, the very heart of the aircraft's air conditioning system. Beside him, the first officer, now relegated to the role of monitor, scanned the instrumentation with a furrowed brow. At the captain's prompting, he peered down at the engine instrumentation, his fingers poised over the throttles, ready to act upon the slightest indication of trouble. And there was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes as he hesitantly identified the right engine as the source of the malfunction. Yet, amidst the haze of ambiguity, a ray of hope pierced the darkness. As the first officer moved to throttle back the errant engine, a curious phenomenon unfolded before their eyes. The vibrations ebbed, the acrid scent dissipating into the ether, leaving in its wake a sense of cautious optimism. It was a fleeting moment of clarity, a brief respite in the tumultuous storm that raged around them. At last, with the engine shut down and the aircraft stabilized, a semblance of order returned to the cockpit. But the ordeal was far from over. As they descended towards their new destination, the crew remained vigilant. their eyes fixed on the horizon ahead, ever mindful of the peril that lurked just beyond the veil of darkness. Unknown to them, the very instruments upon which they relied for guidance held secrets of their own. For on the 737-400, the vibration indicators were a reliable beacon in the storm, their warnings a silent sentinel against the encroaching chaos. Yet in the crucible of the cockpit, their significance remained obscured, lost amidst the cacophony of urgent voices and flashing lights. Meanwhile, in the cabin, a sense of unease gripped the passengers and crew alike. As the aircraft shuddered and convulsed with each passing moment, the air grew heavy with the acrid scent of burning rubber and oil. Panic swept through the aisles like wildfire as passengers exchanged nervous glances and whispered words of fear and uncertainty, and then, amidst the chaos, came the telltale signs of imminent danger. In the cockpit, the captain's voice cut through the chaos like a beacon of authority, his words a lifeline amidst the storm. With calm resolve, he issued instructions to the purser, setting in motion the chain of events that would lead them to safety. But even as the cabin crew sprang into action, their minds consumed with thoughts of the impending landing, a sense of disquiet lingered in the air. As the aircraft descended towards East Midlands Airport, the first officer struggled to keep pace with the torrent of demands that assailed him. Tasked with navigating the labyrinth of checklists and procedures, he fought to maintain his composure amidst the swirling chaos. But with each passing moment, the pressure mounted, threatening to overwhelm him as he grappled with the unfamiliar nuances of the emergency at hand. All the while, the captain wrestled with the controls, his hands guiding the aircraft with a steady resolve born of years of experience. Yet, even as he fought to keep the aircraft aloft, a nagging sense of doubt gnawed at the edges of his consciousness. Had they done enough? Would they reach their destination in time? As British Midlands Flight 92 descended towards East Midlands Airport, the tension in the cockpit reached a fever pitch, the crew grappling with a relentless barrage of challenges that threatened to overwhelm them. With the autopilot still disengaged and the workload skyrocketing, they navigated the treacherous waters of uncertainty, their every move dictated by the looming specter of impending disaster. Amidst the chaos, the captain sought to reassess their situation, his voice a beacon of authority amidst the din of urgent transmissions. Yet before he could delve deeper into their predicament, they were once again swept up in the tumult of air traffic control directives and rapid-fire descent clearances. And in the frenetic dance of radar headings and altitude changes, the opportunity for reflection slipped through their fingers like grains of sand. As they neared their final approach, the crew's focus narrowed to a razor-sharp point, their movements precise and calculated as they prepared for the daunting task ahead. With each passing moment, the weight of their responsibility bore down upon them, their hearts pounding in unison with the rhythmic thrum of the aircraft's engines. But as they descended towards the runway, fate dealt them a cruel blow. In a sudden, gut-wrenching twist of fate, engine number 1 faltered and died, leaving them hurtling towards the earth with only one engine to keep them aloft. In the blink of an eye, the delicate balance upon which their survival depended was shattered, plunging them into a maelstrom of chaos and confusion. With the aircraft lurching beneath them, the captain's mind raced with a desperate scramble for solutions. In a bid to extend their dwindling glide, he pitched the aircraft upwards, his hands gripping the controls with a white-knuckled intensity. Yet even as he fought to stave off disaster, the relentless onslaught of challenges showed no signs of abating. As the stick shaker rattled ominously and the ground rushed up to meet them, the crew braced themselves for impact, their hearts pounding in their chests as they hurtled towards an uncertain fate. And then, in a deafening roar of twisted metal and shattered dreams, the aircraft slammed into the earth, its fuselage tearing apart with a sickening crunch. In the aftermath of the tragedy, amidst the wreckage and devastation, the true cause of the accident remained shrouded in mystery. But as the dust settled and the smoke cleared, the UK air crash investigation team descended upon the scene, their tireless efforts paving the way for answers to emerge from the ashes. And as the world grappled with the harrowing reality of the loss, the lessons learned from British Midlands Flight 92 reverberated far beyond the confines of the cockpit. For in the wake of tragedy there arose a solemn commitment to ensure that such horrors would never be repeated, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. With painstaking precision, they combed through the debris strewn along the approach path, each fragment a vital clue in the intricate puzzle they sought to unravel. As they sifted through the wreckage, a pattern began to emerge, a tale of two engines marred by tragedy and misfortune. As they delved into the intricacies of the engine's construction, they uncovered a chilling tale of oversight and negligence. In their quest to increase the engine's thrust, the manufacturer had unwittingly introduced a fatal flaw, a flaw that had lurked in the shadows, waiting to unleash its deadly payload upon unsuspecting victims. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the investigators unearthed a grim truth. The tragedy of British Midlands Flight 92 had been years in the making, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode with devastating consequences. Yet, amidst the tragedy and loss, the investigation yielded valuable lessons that would shape the future of aviation safety for years to come. From improved training protocols to enhanced decision-making tools, the legacy of British Midlands Flight 92 would endure as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. And as the world grappled with the aftermath of the disaster, one truth remained clear: the quest for safety and accountability in the skies would continue, fueled by the unwavering determination to ensure that such horrors would never be repeated. Thanks for sticking with this video till the very end. If you enjoyed this video and wish to see more of such videos, please subscribe to this channel. Also, remember to like and share this video. You help us extend our reach when you do. Thanks for watching.